Hi, April. Thank you for coming on to Under the Paycheck.
Thank you for having me.
I have here occupational therapist by day and host of the podcast Adulting with Autism by night.
You would
You have just hit your 2-year anniversary.
I have.
Congratulations. Does it feel like it's been 2 years or has it just flown by?
Actually, it's flown by. Like, I have to keep myself straight because it's like year 2, but I'm in season 3.
Wow. That 2 years is a big deal. I think, oh no, oh my gosh. So sorry. I think I lost you. Can you see me? Oh, okay. So sorry. I'm gonna have to edit that out. Appointments and stuff. Eh, I have just started podcasting, but before this, it was like daily vlogs and like all of that. So I do have close to 300 videos posted. And I could tell you it is not easy, but you make it
No,
look easy.
no, it's the look. It's the illusion.
That's amazing. So, what does an occupational therapist do?
So this is what I like to tell people because we can fit in all sorts of roles, but we help people with their daily living. So that's where the occupation part comes for everyday tasks. And it's really very patient based in which area you work in, whether it's peds, geriatrics, med surg, mental health. We help patients get back to what they want to do. So we ask, what is your goal? What do you want to do? And we try to be the magical people with our magic wands and capes and make it happen.
So, you are generally with people who you're connecting with people on possibly what could be like their lowest days,
They're little,
emotionally, physically, and you try to take that around and we could do this. We're gonna do these tools, we're gonna do these exercises and
yeah, we primarily, our goal is to help people be independent on their terms.
See, I have a friend who is a BCBA behavioral therapist, and it's a little bit differently, but I feel like it's in kind of like the same worlds
Yeah, we
of
work closely with those people primarily in the world of autism to help them kind of manage their meltdowns and sensory overload and help parents understand their kids and what they're going through on a daily basis.
that's exactly what she works in. She works in autism. She goes to like the homes of like the clients and everything. Their centers, I believe. I think maybe even like visiting hospitals, like all a realm of just going everywhere. And from her, I know it's not an easy job, but I definitely know she does not get paid enough. Like nobody in the medical field gets paid enough to do what others don't have patience for. Because I look at her and I was like, you girl, you have a lot of patience.
It's if it's something you love and you're really passionate about what you do, you sort of just go into it. You know you're not gonna ever be paid what you're worth, but you can't go into this type of field and just be like, I'm gonna do it for the paycheck because you ain't gonna last.
It's not gonna work. See, I can't. I've never been able to go. I think it's a good thing that I don't necessarily have any passions. I think it's because then it allows me to go do whatever I want. Passions are great. I think it is so helpful so that you don't feel lost. Because trust me, I'm lost like 90% of my life. But I for sure have gone into careers solely because I know that's where money is. Like when I went to go study pre-law and like criminal justice and paralegal. I got the job at the courthouse because I was like, hello, law's always going to be there. You always hear all these like, win your case and like $1 million. On the advertising, we've won $1 billion in class action suits. And so it's like, okay, perfect. But it didn't end up being as much money as I thought. That is for sure. I think at the time, it was a couple of years ago. I think at the time it was like $19 an hour. So I keep pivoting. I keep pivoting to like what's just going to keep making the most amount of money. And you can't do that in the medical field, therapies and
Now it depends on how you want to roll with it. Because there are some therapists that actually open their own centers and bring in lots of money, but it's a lot of work. And I'm like, that's not my jam. Or they create courses or they become coaches. Or that's one thing I can say about the occupational therapy field. We can put ourselves anywhere. Like you
Mhm.
see me, I'm in a podcast and
Yeah.
serving a need that is very untainted, or not untainted, but is untapped because not a lot of people are talking about what happens after autistic students transition into the adult world and they have nothing out there. And I just
Mhm.
happen to be the only therapist with that podcast serving that population.
See, I have to give your podcast to my sister-in-law. I do have a nephew with autism. He's very capable. He's very, I believe, I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but I believe he's high functioning.
Yeah, he's probably level one. So that's what we call most of our autistic individuals that are able to live independently. They're able to do a lot of things if they have supports in place and learn those supports.
I think a little bit of, talking to her, I think a little bit of the fear is of what's going to happen after high school. I don't think he's interested in college. I don't think like they're interested in college either, but they are kind of wondering because, like from elementary, middle, high school, it's generally the same plan, the same hours, the same structure, the same, you take the therapist with you through like every year. But then what happens of what happens after high, like what do you do? Where do you go? And they are a little worried. That's for sure.
I will get, how old is your nephew?
15.
Okay, so I'm gonna give some advice, and
Yes,
I'm
please.
gonna I'm gonna let your sister know she's doing just fine. Just don't think he's gonna be ready to go outside because what they're discovering now is that even when they turn 18, they're still far behind mature-wise. So he's 15, but he's probably functioning on like a middle school maturity level at some point. So don't rush it. My kid just went to college and is just now getting successful, and he's 24.
Okay.
So
That's
everybody
not
lands different. So start now, like start teaching him how to advocate for himself. Bring him into those IEPs and say, what do you want for after high school? And if he doesn't know, that's okay. But start gearing him towards independence, saying, hey, you can do your own laundry. Hey, fix your own food. Like I'm autistic and I flunked college 5 times before I got it together at 29.
you did it. It's not easy. And some people go back at like 40. Who cares on the timeline?
But that's the difficult part is once they do transition, there's no prep to getting them to where we're going to go after high school. It's just high school and then and everybody's like, shit, what now? And that's the thing. You got to prep way ahead because there's legalities you got to learn. If he does choose to go to college, are autism specific supports in that college and does it fit him? Does he need a transition program, which California does have? And California, if he's on bug rehab, will pay for that transition program.
He does have an answer as to what he wants to do. It's not college. He wants to be an ice cream truck owner.
Hey,
He wants
that's
to be the guy that like drives around with the I can't even remember the jingle right now. Oh my god. You know what I mean?
if that's what he wants to do, then he's got to learn how to do it. So same thing, like how you're going to manage your business, how you're going to learn business, what you're going to do, because you can't just drive around buy ice cream. If that's so you just
Yeah.
start figuring it out. But if she's worried, like, my God, he's not going to make any money as an ice cream person delivery. I'm going to tell you, my oldest nephew, he's 27, and he told his mom one day, I want to be the McDonald's fry guy. That's what I want to do with my life.
Ooh.
And my sister is like, so she's an occupational therapist too, but he did end up going to college. He became cybersecurity. He does have a degree.
I have thought about that.
So tell her, yes, he wants to be the ice cream truck person now, but when he hits 16, it's going to change. And 17, it's going to change. My son has been very adamant about being a video game something because he's a big gamer. But
Mhm.
now he's like, okay, I don't like coding or programming. I was like, well, what?
It's hard.
Yeah. He's like, I'm like, what the hell are you going to do in that field? Because you certainly don't like drawing, even though he's good at it. He goes, I just want to be the developer. I'm like, I don't know what that entails, but do you, boo?
If you could figure it out, go ahead. Good luck. I can't blame him on coding. I tried to learn coding for funsies, and every single line ends up getting an error. Or if you think it looks good, the next day you'll wake up to it automatically crashing, and you have no idea why.
Exactly. I don't have the patience for that. That's why I'm in healthcare.
Ugh, that, I think that's a lot of patience. I think that's like the most amount of patience. My friend, who's the BCBA behavioral therapist, she had the passion for it. I tried to tell my girlfriends, like, let's all go become like lawyers and doctors and astronauts, just make a bunch of money. They don't listen to me. But that's what I try to advocate for. But she had a true passion for this. So she ended up going to school and oof, I think like she was able to do this with just a master's. I believe you have doctorate or you can get to like doctorate for occupational therapist. She stopped being at master's and it costed her anywhere from like 20 to 30K. And after like doing her numbers and looking at all of that, it takes forever. It takes years. If you're like even super disciplined, it's going to be at least 10 to 15 years of uh, maybe a little bit more than the monthly. Just tossing in a little bit more, but never missing. And also paying for your car, paying for your
Hmm.
home, your food, that one vacation per year. It's hard. It is definitely hard. And I believe you were able to get grandfathered into your program.
I was. I was grandfathered in. I was the last class to be grandfathered in before their doctorate, which I'm super. I'm like, that's not going to make you any more money. Just like my sister was grandfathered in when they turned to masters. She don't make any more money. So that's why I'm like, I don't know why these programs are making these doctorates because you're not a true doctor. A true doctorate has to be 4 years of your
Mhm.
undergrad and 4 more
Residency.
years of like study, with the 2 years being the master's, 2 years being your doctorate. And what the OT PT world has done is just eliminate the master's. And I'm like, well, then you're not a doctor. And I'm not about to call you that. So therefore, you can get on my face with that.
Oh, it makes sense. Really, I believe OTs did you know that the average medium salary is supposedly like $66,000 per year as an American here? That's the average that everyone's supposed to be hitting. And I believe OTs generally hit that. But podcasting is a whole another story. I'm at zero in my what is it? In my 300 videos, 6 years of doing social media, I can honestly tell you I've only hit maybe, if I calculate it all up, like $800 in the 6 years of all of that. How's it going?
Okay. So I ain't retired. So I'm still working. But what people don't tell people about podcasting and being an influencer and doing all of the weird stuff is that it takes a lot of catalog, and usually you have to have sponsors to make that big money. And if you're an entertainer, that's going to be like easy, because as long as you're entertaining people and giving all sorts of craziness, you're going to get paid. But when you're in an education field, it's a whole new ball game, because I'm in a real tight niche
Mhm.
that's not being served. So I'm like, let's learn about this, because I'm not gonna lie. And I had no idea how to podcast. I didn't know anything about it. I
Uh-huh.
didn't know anything about marketing. But you can get paid promoters to help promote your podcast out there. There are freelancers that'll do it, because I ain't got time. Or, if you know that you love to post daily and you've got to have that drive to get on the internet, engage, and post. I'm autistic. I burn out. So I
Mhm.
post just enough. Like, I have a TikTok. Do I post every day? Absolutely not. I post whenever the hell I feel like it. But
Yeah.
on my other three main channels, I always make sure I share it with my guests so their guests can see it and drop new episodes or what have you. Some people can develop merch that people absolutely love. And that's how they make money. Have I made money that way? Absolutely not. Not yet. But it's not something that happens instantaneously. Like, everybody thinks about the Joe Rogan podcast when they think, I want to make a podcast.
Million.
He just happened to be in the right place at the right time and took off from there. Most people quit before they hit 200 episodes. So I'm a little bit past that, but they
Mhm.
say you really don't see the return until year 3 and maybe more. And depending on what you podcast about, some people never make money, but it depends on what you really want to do and drive with that podcast. It's not just the podcast itself, it's everything else that comes in with it.
What made you even consider making the podcast? Because I know like TikTok and everything makes it look so easy and glamorous and like, come over here. I just got all these 10 sponsorships. Start that social media page and be just like me. And they look like they're having the happiest life in the world. What made you start?
I did it for my kid when he came out of college and he failed out. There weren't supports. He had a $10,000 bill he didn't know he had because they didn't explain it. I got frustrated and upset. There wasn't really podcasts to help him navigate the adult world, like with mental health and career and where to go and how to get help. And I was like, this is for the birds. And then I felt isolated as a parent because I was like, what happened to all that support when he was a kid? Because there's a tight community, but as they grow older, it just falls off. And I was like, okay. And I kept complaining about it. And my fiance at the time looked at me and said, why don't you start a podcast? I said, I don't know anything about starting a podcast. Who starts a podcast? He said, you just need a mic. I was like, I don't have a mic. He threw a mic at me. I got a mic. Here you go. And that's how it started. And then I kind of learned along the way, like how to get guests. And I'm like on a platform called Podmatch, which I would give shout out to Alex. It was brilliant. It's a brilliant thing to kind of
Idea,
match guests and
concept.
hosts because there are always going to be more guests than hosts. And even there's like over 3 billion podcasts out there or 3 million, something crazy, but not all of them are active. So it's like a win win. Guests get seen and hosts get to interview and put their message out there. And that's how I got started, just learning along the way, learning how to edit, how to add music, sound. And then I have a YouTube. So I learned how to edit on YouTube, which is a pain because you got to learn SEO optimization and YouTube changes its terms of service and algorithms every like 6 months. And I was like,
And thumbnails.
listen, I'm not even there yet. Cause I'm like, cause now YouTube is like, we don't like AI. We want some realism. I was like, oh, you do in the world of AI? Okay. I don't,
Yeah, I use AI to help me edit this podcast. I use AI for everything. I used AI to help me fix my car yesterday.
listen, AI is a tool to use. Like if I didn't use I would be sitting on my podcast. Like,
Uh,
how do I write this description? I don't have time. Like I work from like 7 to 30 and Monday through Friday. And then when I get home, my first interview with a guest is at 4 o'clock and another one at 5 o'clock. And then if I have energy, I go on to other people's podcasts and I'm like, I need a
I am new to Podmatch. Podmatch has been amazing. I didn't know they existed when I was even thinking of transitioning from like just filming myself to talking to other people. I was like, oh, how am I even gonna like find people? I was like, do I go on Craigslist? Do I like put an ad on? Because that's what you used to do, go on Craigslist. And I don't even know how I ended up finding Podmatch, but so far I love it. The system there has been great and everybody there has been amazing to talk to.
yeah, it's like a win-win. Like if the guest doesn't fit, you can just be like, it's not a fit, pass. You don't have to necessarily search unless you want to. I just don't. I'm just like, please.
I have a feeling it's gonna be the same way with sponsorships. On like you have to go and join some sort of like kind of like a
Platform.
marketing agency, something like
Like,
that to where like Podmatch, but for sponsorships and they're kind of like your agents or something. I've kind of heard that is the only way that it's like being funneled through now, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not successful at it. I think you're way more successful at it than I.
listen, that's because I like hustle and grind, but I also serve like a niche that people are like, hey, she's talking about something that nobody else is talking about. And that's
Mhm.
after they get out of high school. And I'm like, well, yeah, because they still need our help. I told you, if my son took to 24 to pull it together and go off to college again.
Yeah, no, all my stuff was boring. It's all real estate and finance and business and nothing like you say, how possibly like entertaining or like comedians or I think back in the day, like 2018 pranks were like a big
Really
thing,
big.
stuff like that. Where can people find you for your podcast, for your socials, for everything?
So I am everywhere where podcasts are playing Apple, Spotify, all the things, Amazon. If they want me on my socials, I have a link tree and just look
Okay.
up Adulting with Autism and it lists my entire socials.
Okay, I'll make sure to link everything as well in like the descriptions and such. But I want to thank you so much for coming on to Under the Paycheck. I had a lovely time. Thank you for answering all of my weird questions. I hope you had some fun too.
I did. I was like, this is fun. I like this.
Thank you.